Hey everybody, this is a clip from the latest episode of the Randi Rhodes Show. If you want the full episode, you can watch live on Free Speech TV, Dish Channel 94.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Pelosi.
Well, first of all, let me just say how sad it is that even since the president's signing of the bill, the number of deaths reported has doubled from 1,000 to 2,000 in our country. This is such a very, very sad time for us. So we should be taking every precaution. What the president, his denial at the beginning was deadly. His delaying of getting equipment to where it continues, his delay in getting equipment to where it's needed is deadly. And now I think the best thing would be to do is to prevent more loss of life rather than open things up so that, because we just don't know. We have to have testing. That's what we said from the start before we can evaluate what the nature of it is in some of these other regions as well.
She's so right, and we don't have testing. Tomorrow, like I said, West Palm Beach County will get its first testing center since a not-for-profit tried to have a testing center like weeks and weeks ago, and after only 2 days ran out of supplies. And so we haven't had any testing here since then. The National Guard is going to set up a testing center tomorrow for people who have a prescription for a test and make an appointment. They estimate they can do about 250 tests a day. Now, we live in a county with 1.5 million people in it. You do the math, 250 tests a day. We've had 8 deaths so far in Palm Beach County, and we don't know how many people have anything or nothing or everything. We don't know. We have no earthly idea. We have a governor who dressed his baby in a Make America Great Again onesie, who literally announced the birth of his next baby on Twitter yesterday and is celebrating life, while we're left here to fend for ourselves and not even know, in a county where 25% of our residents are over the age of 65, who the hell has this virus? We don't even know. So Nancy Pelosi was asked, because she keeps calling his lack of action, his denial of the crisis in the first place, the lack of 6 weeks worth of doing anything at all. She was asked whether or not he has caused death. And you know, Nancy is very careful with her words. She's not a flamethrower. She said yes.
He obviously downplayed the risks of coronavirus for several weeks. And it
6.
wasn't until I think about 2 weeks ago that he started acknowledging the gravity of the crisis. But are you saying that his downplaying ultimately cost American lives?
Yes, I am. I'm saying that because when he made the other day when he was signing the bill, he said, just think 20 days ago, everything was great. No, everything wasn't great. We had nearly 500 cases and 17 deaths already. And in that 20 days, because we weren't prepared, we now have 2,000 deaths and 100,000 cases. So again, we really want to work in a unifying way to get the job done here, but we cannot continue to allow him to continue to make these underestimates of what is actually happening here. This is such a tragedy. We don't even know the magnitude of it because we do not have the adequate testing.
She's right. So that was Sunday morning. Okay, that was early Sunday morning. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and they were saying 100,000 deaths. You know, today is Monday, and we are close to 3,000 deaths. We are literally at 2,874 known deaths, and the day is not over. On Friday, when we left, just for compares, we had 97,439 known cases. Today, we have 154,578 cases. The number of deaths literally doubled in 24 hours, and the number of cases increased from Friday till today by 57,029 cases. 57,000 cases. And the man does absolutely nothing but say, they're stealing masks. They're stealing. He blames these frontline healthcare workers who are literally out there risking their life while he's holed up in his fortress. This response will be studied for generations as a textbook example of failed leadership, failed governance, a disastrous failed effort. Because, and in the end, what they will conclude is he did it because it didn't suit him. It didn't serve his purpose. It didn't. It wasn't something he was interested in. It wasn't anything he could feel or plan. He is just a con man. He is nothing more than that. 61% of the American people on Friday, I told you, believed that this would be over on Easter because he told them that. 61% believed him because he told them that. This is the greatest failure of a society that I've ever witnessed. I mean, the White House had all the information it needed on January 20th to act decisively, and instead he acted divisively because that is who he is. That is what he does. Well, I'm the first one that closed down the borders. I'm the one that, first did this, I'm the one that, I guess it didn't stop it. I guess it didn't. But what it should have done was buy him a little time so he could prepare, and he did not use that time. He did not use it in the case of testing. He did not use it, and we've been playing catch up for weeks now. For weeks, watching these numbers go up because he doesn't feel governors are appreciative enough. And because he's seeing a bump in his polls. Because the inclination of Americans is to rally around the president during a crisis. But we are behind the eight ball because of him. We don't even know the extent of this pandemic. He is lying when he said, the United States has done more tests. Per capita, the United States is behind every other country, okay? South Korea did 5 times as many tests per capita. I told you, South Korea's got 51 million people. We got like 324. They tested 1 in 170. We've tested 1 in 1,000. And there are places where there have been no tests, like this one, where I am. And you know what he had the nerve to complain about? He had the nerve to complain when they asked him, what do you think of Nancy Pelosi saying, that you caused death? Well, of course, he had to call her a name, so he called her a sick puppy, okay? And then he said the stuff she wanted to put in this bill was crazy. Wait till you hear what it was.
But then when you see Speaker Pelosi come out and say, President Trump's denial at the beginning of this was deadly. As the president fiddles, people are dying. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's a sad thing. Look, she's a sick puppy, in my opinion. She really is. She got a lot of problems, and that's a horrible thing to say, especially when I was the one. And, I've gotten from fair people, a lot of accolades, and I don't want the accolades, but it's just in terms of a fact. When I stopped some very, very infected, very, very sick people, thousands coming in from China long earlier than anybody thought, including the experts. Nobody thought we should do it except me. And I stopped everybody. We stopped it cold. It had never been done before in the history of our country. And Dr. Fauci said the other day, if those people came in, if I didn't do that, you would have had deaths like you have never seen before. And
this is the only thing he did. Okay, and where is the CDC? Where were the tests? Where was anything? I mean, and apparently stopping people from China did not stop the virus. RandyRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.